In this Bootstrap 4 project, we're going to be creating a imaginary app crasher app, basically phone crasher app, right? The app that's going to crash the phone. And as always, we're going to be using Bootstrap 4 beta. And we're going to start by creating a nav bar. Well, we're not going to start by creating a nav bar, but we will going to create a nav bar. And over here, this is going to be this banner section that we're going to create, right? This is going to be the phone over here, and this is going to be the app crasher. And if we actually minimize it over here, we can see that this is going to be responsive. And what we're going to do is we're also going to flip them, right? So you can see that this is going to be on left-hand side. But once we go on a smaller screen, you can see that this is going to be the first one. And only then is going to be the image, right? So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger for our next section, right? The next section is going to be over here, where we have two buttons. And this is going to be some text. And then there's going to be a background over here. And again, it's going to be responsive. If we minimize it over here, you can see that we can still have these two buttons over here. And after that, we're going to have a skills section, right? That you can see that I just wrote everywhere innovation, right? So all three of them are going to be here like this. Then, but once we go to a smaller screen, right, you can see that this is going to be sitting right in the middle, right? And the font awesome is right next to it, right? Side by side. Now over here, this is flipped over here. We have one button, and this is going to be some text over here. But again, we're going to have some image on the background, right? Then this is going to be a theme section, right? Where we're going to push this image, right? Outside a little bit of the card, right? So this is going to be a card. The image is going to be in the card, but we're going to push it so it's sitting here like this. And as we're hovering, right, very, very minimal CSS effect, right? Of course, obviously nothing very special, but at least we added the card so you can, as you're hovering, right, the card is changing a color, right? And of course, as always, this is going to be responsive. If we go to bigger screen, you can see this is going to be 4 of them, and the images are still there. And after the theme section, over here, we're going to build over here this section where we're going to have a phone in the background, but the same image, and we're going to actually place it in the center, right? So you can see that they're going to be overlaying like this, and then over here, this is going to be a button. Then next is going to be about section where we have 2 images, and then there's going to be some text over here. However, if we scroll over here to the smaller screen, you can see that we're actually going to be, again, changing the order, right? So you can see now we have image, text, text, image, right? Instead of the 2 images, right? One underneath another one, right? So if we go back again, right, you can see that this is going to be the order. However, for the smaller screen, we're going to flip the order, right? And then over here, this is going to be our footer. And over here, this is going to be Navbar with the search form. And of course, if we go to the smaller screen, right, this is going to, as always, going to collapse over here. And we're going to have a nice looking nav bar. So the setup for this project is going to be exactly the same like for the rest of them. As always, I'm going to put a link in the description for the setup. And enough of me talking, let's get to coding. And as always, we're going to start with the banner section, but I just want to show you that over here we have main CSS. This is going to be a Google Fonts, and this is going to be Font Awesome. And over here in the main CSS, you can see that I am referring to the fonts over here. And if I'm going to go back to the index, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a little bit more space so we have a little bit more room and we can start working. So over here, we're going to say that this is going to be a section, and I'm going to say that this is going to have ID of banner. And over here, we're going to say that it's also going to have a class, and it's going to have a class of BG primary, right? So we're going to say this is going to be primary over here. And now that we have our div, might as well on the top, let's just put this is going to be banner section, right? So now when we have a section, we would want to place a container over here. And then we're going to, within the container, we're going to place a row, and it's actually going to have multiple classes, right? First, we're going to place a max viewport class over here. Then we're going to say that this is going to be align items. This is going to be a flexbox class items. And over here, we're going to say center. And then we're going to say that the actual text is going to be text center, right? So these are the classes that our row is going to have. And then we're going to have a column, right? That's going to be spanning on a medium 6 over here, starting from a medium. Then it's also going to have a margin on top and bottom, and it's going to be 5. Then it's going to have a flexbox order 2, right? This is where we're going to be flipping the order of them, right? And over here, we're going to say that on a medium screen, it's actually going to be order 1, order medium 1, or here like this. And over here, we're going to place a image, and we're going to say that this is going to be a image, and it's going to have a source, or here source, and we're going to say that this is going to be images banner, right? So this is going to be this image, and we're going to give it a class of image fluid, right? So there is a responsive over here. If we close it out, you can see that now we have our 2 broken phones, which in theory our app is supposed to do that, right? Our app is going to be so good, or the app that our company is creating is so good that it's going to crash the phone. Now over here, we're going to create a column, right? We're going to create a div that's going to have a class of column, medium 6, and then we're going to say that this is going to have also a medium over here, right? That this is going to have margin top bottom over here 5, and then we're going to say that this is going to have order 1, and then we're going to say this is going to have order 2 on medium, right? So it's going to be the other way around, right? So this is how we're going to flip them around using the fact that each row is a flexbox container, right? So then we close this one out, and over here we're going to say that this is going to have a h1, and this is going to have a text danger class, and over here we're going to say this is going to be text uppercase class, and over here we're going to say that this is going to be phone crasher app, right? So here, if we want, we can place small, and we're going to say that this is going to be a phone crasher over here, and we're going to say after small, we're going to say app, right? Then we can create a little bit of room, and now the only thing we need to do is actually add a paragraph and 2 links, right? So over here, we're going to say this is going to be paragraph, and it's going to have a class of lead and a class of white text, right? So the color of the text is going to be white. And over here, we're going to say that this is going to be a lorem, right? Some dummy text over here. And then the only thing we need to do is we need to create a links. And let's check it out over here. We need text white, not white text, right? Text white, right? And over here, what we're going to do is we're going to create a href. So we're going to have a, and we're going to say that this is going to have a class of btn. Then it's going to have btn outline, and then it's going to be dark. And over here, we're going to say that this is going to have text uppercase case over here. And then we're going to say this is going to have margin 2. And we're going to close this one out over here like this. href is going to be dummy link. And within here, we're going to place a font awesome. So we're going to have I. This is going to be fa. And over here, another class is going to be fa apple over here. And also, we're going to put a margin right 2. Right, so now we close this out. We have this apple. And now we can, within this link, we can write this is going to be apple. Right. So now that we have this, the only thing left to do is actually we just need to copy this one over here like this and check it out what we have. Over here we would want Google, right? So we're going to say Google store, and over here we can write a Apple store, and here we're going to say Google over here. Now that we have this, let's check it out. What, let's say, minor things we would need in our main CSS, right? Because we will be trying not to do too much in CSS because we're trying still to get used to all the classes in a Bootstrap, right? So here we're going to say that this is going to be that max viewport, and I'm going to say that this is going to be minimal height, 100 viewports, right? So now that we have this one, this is going to be sitting exactly on a full screen, right? So let's just check it out whether we actually max viewport over here. Once we have set our max viewport, we're actually done with this section. Let's just check it out what we did with an order, right? So over here you can see if I'm moving them, right? So now you can see how they flip to order. So this one is number 1 over here, this one is number 2, right? But when we go to the smaller screen, right, you can see how they flip, and we did that actually by using this order 1 and order 2 over here, right? So this is going to be the order 2, and this is going to be the order medium 1, right? So in a regular, right, in a very small screen, an extra small screen, this is going to be order 2, but then when we go to order medium, this is actually going to be order 1, right? And over here, these two classes you should already know, right? The flexbox item center, it's basically placing them in the center, right? And rest of the classes for sure we have covered already before. And now we are ready to move on to the next section. And the next section we're going to build is going to be over here, this one, right? This is going to be this filler section. We're going to have 2 links. We're going to have some text, and this is going to be the background image, right? So we're going to go over here, and we're going to call it this one actually a filler section, right? Over here, say this is going to be a filler section, and over here we're going to say that this is going to be a section, and the ID is going to be a first filler here. And then we're going to say that this is going to have a class of download, right? And this is going to be for the background image, right? So now that we have the section, we're going to say container over here. And then we're going to say that within the container, there's going to be a row. And within the row, we're going to say this is going to be a line item center. And we're going to have viewport 50 and text center, right? So over here, we're going to say that this is going to be align items center, and over here we're going to say that this is going to be viewport 50. This is going to be the class that we're going to create, and we're going to say this is going to be text center. So now that we have all these, well, why don't we right away go ahead and create this align items center, sorry, the viewport 50 and the download class, right? So over here we're going to say the main CSS, and the difference, the viewport 50 obviously is going to be very minimal. It's just, well, it's going to be half the screen, right? So if we copy this one, over here we're going to say viewport, and over here we're going to say 50, right? So now we get this rolling, and the next thing that we would want to do is actually have the class download, right? What would this class entail, right? So here we're going to go down, and we're going to say this is going to be download, and over here we're going to say this is going to have a background. And the background, as always, we're going to do a linear gradient as an overlay for a image, right? But first, let's place an image. I'm going to say over here, images, and this is going to be a background image over here like this. This is going to be JPEG, and then we have a background attachment fixed. Then we have a background size over here. We're going to say this is going to be cover. Then we have a background over here, repeat. I'm going to say no repeat. And then we're going to say that this is going to be position is going to be center. Background, position, center, right? Now that we have this, let's place over here this linear gradient, right? So what are we going to say over here in between the URL, right? So we're going to comment this out. And over here, we're going to say this is going to be linear gradient over here, and then we're going to create a brackets, and then we're going to say to left, and over here comma, and again RGBA, and we're just going to place a blue color. Well, technically blue. We're going to have 0 0, and this is going to be 255, and over here we're going to have a 0.3, and next we're going to have exactly the same, but it's going to be actually black. So we're going to copy this one over here, and here we need to place another comma, and over here if we copy this one, and instead this is going to be totally black, and we're going to say this is going to be almost 0.9, right? And we'll see the moment we're going to put something in that div, we're actually going to be able to see what we have created, right? So far we don't see anything, right? Then the next thing that we would want to do is actually place obviously something inside there, right? So the first thing that we would want to do is actually a div, right, with a class of column small 6. So we're going to say that this is going to be column small 6 over here, and then we're going to say that this is going to have a href in there. So let's see what we have. So far nothing. And we're going to say that this is going to have a href, right? So we're going to say href with the class of button, and over here we're going to say button dark, and this is going to be a text uppercase, and over here we're going to say this is going to have a margin 2, and then we're just going to have an href over here, and then after that we're going to say that in here we're going to write that this is going to be Apple Store. But then what we would want to do is over here we're going to actually place a font awesome icon. So over here I'm going to say fa, and over here this is going to be another one of those Apple ones, right? So I'm going to say fa over here, and this is going to be Apple, and over here we're going to say that this is also going to have a margin right 2, MR2. And then we just press over here, and now we have our Apple Store with an Apple icon, right? And over here, the only thing left to do, just copy this one, and over here we're going to say this is going to be again the Google Store. Google Store, this is going to be Google instead of Apple. All right, so now that we have these two, then we need to have another column, right? So here we're going to say this is going to be a column small 6, and inside here we're going to have a paragraph. So we're going to say this is going to be lead, and over here we're going to say this is going to have text white over here, and we're just going to write some lorem text, right? And once we have added over here this paragraph, let's check it out why over here we don't have our viewport 50 like we wanted, right? So if we go to main CSS, over here you can see that I forgot a dot first of all, and second I didn't call it viewport 50, right? So over here we have viewport 50, and now you can see what's happening, right? So now we have 2 buttons, and then we have lorem text over here. So if it goes to the screen, right, you can see that now it's actually side by side because it's actually a column 6, right? Now one thing that we would want to maybe do, right? So if we go back to index.html, if we have container, we can make it fluid over here, and then if we drag it again over here, right? So this is now the icons are going to be together because we have actually less margins and paddings over here. So that's something that you might want to do if you want to spread them out. And now that we're done with this section, right, let's check it out what we can build next. Over here we're going to build this innovation section. So let's go ahead and let's make a comment over here. We're going to say this is going to be a features section, right, over here, and we're going to start it. We're going to say this is going to be a section, and over here this is going to have ID features, and then after that we're going to have a class, and the class is going to be a padding. I'm sorry, it's going to be a class, but it's going to be a padding class. Over here, padding top and bottom 5, and then I'll go over here. It's going to be background, and again we're going to say primary, right? Now we open this one, and then over here we're going to say this is going to be a container, and let's say in this case we're going to say this is going to be container fluid over here, and then we're going to say this is going to be a row within that container. So I'm going to say this is going to be a row, and another class is going to be a line over here, items, and we're going to say center, and then also the text center class. So and then we have this, and then over here we're obviously going to add our first column, and over here we're going to say that this is going to be spanning only from medium screen. It's going to be 6, right? So only thing we need to do over here, we're going to say column medium 6, and over here we're going to say that this is going to be column large 4. So large 4 over here. And then we're going to say this is going to be text white. And this is going to be, again, the margin top bottom 3. And this is also going to be deflex, right? Because this is going to be the flexbox class in order to get them side by side, right? So now that we have this one, the first thing that we need to do is actually place over here this font awesome, right? So we have font, right? And then we have over here, what we're going to do is we're going to say this is going to be a bomb, right? And then we're going to say 5 times bigger, 5x over here, and margin right 3. Right, so this is what we're going to have. And next thing we're going to need to do is just close it out. And now you can see it's over here, right? And the reason why it's going to be on the side over here, again, is because of this, the fact that we made this div, right? We made it class a deflex, right? So we go over here and underneath over here, this I, we're going to create a div. We're going to call it inner text class over here, and then we're going to place a heading 1 with margin and a paragraph, right? So heading 1 is going to be like this. We're going to say heading 1, and the class is going to be my3 over here, and we're just going to place inside there innovation, right? We're going to say this is going to be innovation. So now that we have this, well, did it wrong over here, I needed to do. Right, now we have innovation, and then we would want a paragraph, right? So we're going to write over here paragraph. We're going to say this is going to be lead, and over here we're going to say this is going to be lorem, dummy text, right? And again, I did it in the wrong way. Lorem and dummy text, and then over here, right? So now we have a paragraph with the dummy text and everything, right? And I'm going to repeat myself, but the reason why they're on side by side is because of this deflex, right? If we take this away, you can see that this is going to be the old look, right? And with this deflex, now it's very easy to put them side by side, right? So then we put a dot over here. We're going to put another one, right? So this is going to be our class. And over here, I need to put deflex. And the only thing left to do is actually we just need to copy this one. 1, 2, right? And I made a mistake. Didn't copy something fully. Right over here. 1, 2, and over here we'll check it out. What do we have? We have a bomb. Let's say over here we're going to say this is going to be spinner. Then over here we would want another spinner star. I'm going to say star, and let's say change over here. I'm also going to change to innovation to star. I'm going to say this is going to be star. And this is going to be not inksovation. First of all, I've written over here. But I'm just going to say this is going to be spinner. And this is going to be innovation. Right? So now that we have this class ready to go, we can actually go ahead and check it out what we're going to be doing next. And again, we're going to be doing this filler section. Just this time, it's going to be the other way around. So we're going to go over here in the bottom. And we're going to say that this is going to be a download section. And over here, we're going to say this is going to be section. And we're going to give it an ID of second filler. Not very original. And over here, we're going to say the class is going to be download over here again. And once we open that one up, over here, we're going to say that this is going to be a container. I'm going to say this is going to be container. And might as well container right away. Let's put fluid over here. And then we're going to say this is going to be a row. And we're going to say that this is going to be a align. Items, again, in the center. Items over here, center. And then we're going to say this is going to be viewport 50. Again, this time, right? This time is going to be correct. Then we're going to say that this is going to have a text center. Now that we open this one up, again, you can see where it is sitting right now, right? So now that we have the row, let's do a column, right? So we're going to say this is going to be a column. And over here, I'm going to say this is going to be for small 6, right? So starting from small. And over here within this column, we're going to place a paragraph. I'm just going to say this is going to have a class of lead, and over here we're going to say this is going to have a lorem text, right? And then we open this one up. You can see that what we have, right? We have a paragraph that the only thing is I forgot is going to be text white. Over here, white, right? So now we have a paragraph with a white text. And over here now, once we have this column, then obviously we can place another one. And over here, we're going to say column, and this is going to be a small. And over here, we're going to say this is going to be 6. And we're going to open this one up, and we're going to say this is going to be href, right? So we're going to have a href, and we're going to write some classes. Again, this is going to be button large. Over here, we're going to say button dark, button over here dark, and then we're going to say text uppercase, and then we're going to say this is going to be a margin 2 over here like this. And then we close this one, and then we say that this is going to be a dummy text. And over here, we're just going to say this is going to be download now. Right, so download, and we're going to say now. Right, so now that we have this section done, we can actually move on to a next section, and next is going to be the theme section, right? And the reason why we're done, because over here we had two things, right? In the main CSS, we already had this class, right? This is going to be the download class, and we already had a viewport class, right? So now we're actually ready to move on to the next section. So let's go all the way to the bottom of our file over here. And again, we're just going to make this one a little bit smaller. And this one we're going to create a little bit smaller just so we can see what we're doing, right? And over here, what we're going to say, this is going to be a comment. And over here, we're going to say this is going to be a theme section, right? And over here, when we have a theme section, we're going to say this is going to be a section, and this is going to be theme. And then we're going to have a couple of classes. Over here, we're going to say that the first class is going to be padding top and bottom 5. And over here, we're going to say be background primary over here. So now that we have this section, we can actually create a container, right? We're going to say fluid. And then over here, we're going to place a row over here and over here like this. And then within the row, we're actually going to place our first column over here. We're going to say that this is going to be a column. It's going to be spanning 12, so we can just write it like this. And then we're going to say that this is going to be a text center. And over here, we're going to say this is going to be margin bottom 5. Right, and over here within this div, actually, we're going to place a heading 1, and we're going to say that this is going to have a text white over here, and then we're going to say this is going to have text uppercase, and then obviously the actual text over here is going to be theme, right? So if we do this, you can see that we have a div, right, that's going to be spanning all across the screen. And it's going to have text white, text uppercase, and this is going to be theme, right? So we check where this row ends, and we're going to place another row, right? And over here, we're just going to say this is going to be a row. And over here, we're going to say we're going to be placing a div with a column. And we would want from medium to be 6. The rest of the time, it's actually going to be a full, right? So let's say we're going to actually do like this. We'll say with the small, it's going to be half the screen, and over here with the big, we're going to say column large. Let's say we're going to say this is going to be 3, right? So then we open this one, and over here we're going to actually place a card, right? So I'm going to say this is going to be card, and then it's going to be text over here center, and then we're going to say this is going to be margin top bottom 5, and over here in the card, actually we would place a card body. So we're going to say this is going to be a card body over here. And then we're going to place an image, right? So we go over here, and over here we're going to place an image. So I'm going to say image source. And over here I'm going to say that this is going to be with images and theme 1 over here. And I'm right away going to give it a style, right? Not the best case scenario. It's obviously would have been better if I would have added a width, right? If I actually have a cropped image, but let's say if you don't have your image cropped, we can make it this way, right? So I'm going to say that this is width going to be 175 pixels, right? And then over here we need to just add a couple of classes, right? The first class is going to be a image fluid over here, and then we're going to say that this is going to be rounded circle, right? So now that we have this one, you can see where's the card, right? And this is going to be our image. Now, after that, we would want to place a heading 2. So it's not going to have any classes. So I can just write the same way. I'm just going to say heading 2, say name, right? This is going to be the name of our team, whoever he is, right? Over here, we're going to say this is going to be heading 6. And over here, we're going to say that he's going to be a developer. And over here, we're going to have a font awesome, right? We're going to have 3 icons, right? So I'm going to say that this is going to be div, and I'm going to give it a class of awesome, font awesome. And then within this div, we're actually going to place a font awesome icons, right? FA over here, then it's going to be FA Facebook. And then we're going to say that this is going to be text primary, right? Because that's going to set the color to blue. And over here, we're going to say MX3, right? So that's going to be margin to the sides, to left and right. So if I press the tab, you can see I have my Facebook, right? And over here, what I would want to do is I would want to copy this one, 1, 2, right? And here, we can obviously delete these ones, right? I'm going to say that this is going to be let's say one of them is going to be a Twitter, and the other one is Instagram, right? So now we have these two, and the last thing that I would want to do is actually place a paragraph, right? So I'm going to say paragraph, and I'm going to say this is going to be MT3, right? Margin top 3, and over here we would want place a text, so I'm going to say lorem, and over here maybe 2 lorems. And then over here, we're going to press the tab, right? So this is going to be our employer. So the only thing left really to do is copy this and place it in CSS and actually move this image up and add some hovering classes, right? So let's check it out where we at, right? So we are actually right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this, and we're going to actually copy this one, right? So we can do it multiple ways. This way, 1, 2, and 3, right? So now we have 4 developers over here, and the only thing left to do is actually we just need to change this team, right? So over here, when we have team number 1, here we're gonna have team number 2, here team number 3, and you can see I made a mistake, 4, 3, and over here this is going to be number 2, right? So now we have the team. Now actually it's time to go to a CSS and actually style this one, right? So we go to CSS, and the first thing that we're going to say is we would want a theme, right? Theme image over here, and we would want a top margin, right? We're going to say top margin or margin top over here. And only thing we're going to have to do is actually place a negative margin. We're going to say negative 100 pixels, right? Now you can see how this right away moves the images up. And that was the reason why we kept on adding for our classes the margins, right? So that way the images are not bumped into the classes, right? And over here, another thing what we would need to do is for the card, we're going to say team over here, card, and then we're going to say that the background color, right, we would want a little bit different. I'm going to say this is going to be white smoke, and then obviously once we're going to be hovering, we're going to say team, and we're going to say card, hover, and we're going to say that this should be different, right? So we're going to say background color, gray, let's say we're going to say dark gray, And over here, we're going to say color is going to be white smoke. Now, it's not the best color choice. Obviously, if you're working with your own files, it makes a lot more sense if you're working smarter than this, right? But just for the sake of just showing you how it works, right? I think it's actually good enough if we just do it this way. Now let's just check it out why we don't have it. And now we have it, right? So as you can see, now I'm hovering and it's actually changing the background, right? But you can see that in the small screen, we still have 2, right? Then if we're going to be going to medium, still have 2. And I'm not going to do it to the large one right now because I don't want to lose this half the screen. But if we actually go to the large one, this is going to have a 4 of them, right? So this is going to be our team. So now we're ready to move on actually to a next section. And next section is going to be very interesting. We're going to be placing 2 phones basically on top of each other. So here I'm going to say this is going to be a lower over here banner section. And over here I'm going to say that this is going to be a section. And I'm going to give it ID of lower. And I'm going to say banner. And here we're going to place also a class. All right, so we're going to say this is going to be padding 5. And within this section, right now, what we're going to do is we're going to place a container. So we're going to say this is going to be container. And over here, we're going to place a row. And we're going to say that the row, and it's going to have multiple classes, right? So this is going to align the items in the center. So item center. And then I'm going to say that this is going to be a justify content also in the center. So I'm going to say over here that this is going to be justify content. And I'm going to say this is going to be center. And over here, once I close this one out, now I'm going to place a column. And I'm going to say that this is going to be a column medium 6. And then it's going to be MT3. And over here, I'm going to say text center. Over here. And then we're going to place an image. Over here, we're going to say this is going to be image. This is going to be source. This is going to be images. And we're going to look for the back phone or background phone over here. And we're going to say this is going to be class image fluid. Over here like this. And then we're going to have a link, right? So let's go ahead and create a link. Over here, we're just going to say href. And over here, we're going to say that this is going to have a class of button. This is going to be a button large. Then we're going to say that this is going to be a button outline. Over here, warning. And then we're going to say text uppercase, right? And once we have that over here, we just place a hashtag, and then within this link, we're actually going to write that this is going to be a order now. And if we really want, we can place, I don't know, some font awesome icons, right? So if you feel like it, you can always place some font awesome icons over here. Now, only thing left to do is to go to main CSS, and we just need to add the background, right? And for the lower banner, it's going to be actually very, very simple. What we're going to do over here, you see this download, right? So what we can always do is just copy this one, since we're going to be using this, right? So it's like I'm going to say copy, and we're going to create some more space. Over here, we're going to say that this is going to be a lower banner. So now you can see over here I have this background, but that's not what I want, right? So first we can try it out with the same one. We can say that this is going to be a background phone, right? Background phone, right? And let's see. Hopefully I spelled it right because it's not actually showing up. I think it was called differently, right? It's from the old file. I do have background phone. Right? It's probably because I haven't centered or something, right? So we have a background phone, and let's say if I'm going to place over here this over here off, And when your live preview wakes up the same as mine, right, you're gonna get over here this background, right, over here. You can see that once we're gonna start scrolling actually up, once we're gonna add some sections underneath here, right, it's gonna start scrolling up. But at the moment, you can see that we're pretty much stuck over here, right? But that's the idea. So we would have a phone overlaying the other phone, right? So we can save this one over here. Not exactly here, but over here. And then we can go back to index all the way in the bottom again, and we're going to be creating a few more sections. And the next section we're going to be building, right, after this one is going to be this about section. If you remember that this is actually going to be folding, right? So the images are going to be in different order once we go to the smaller screen. So we go over here. This is going to be a about section. Like this, and then what we're going to do is we're going to say that this is going to have a section, and we're going to say this is going to be ID about, and then we're going to say that this is going to have a background, and then we're going to say this is going to be a primary background, and then we're going to say that this is going to have a padding top bottom over here like this, and then once we are done with this, we're going to say this is going to be a container, and we're going to say fluid. Right, and over here we're going to place a row, and as always we're going to do pretty much the same things, right? We're going to write row, and we're going to be aligning the items, right? So we're going to align items center, and over here we're going to say that this is going to be a text center also, right? So that's going to be for those paragraphs that we're going to be placing on the side, right? Now after that we need to start creating columns, so I'm going to say column. And over here, I'm going to say that this is going to be actually column 6, right? All the way, let's say, when it's small. So I'm going to write over here like this. So from extra small screen. Then I'm going to say that this is going to be column medium 3. And then I'm going to say that this is going to have order of 1 and order of medium 2, right? So for a small screen, right, this is going to have a order 1. But then for the medium, it's actually going to have a different one, right? So what we need to remember that we have 4 elements, and this is going to be the first one, right? So what for the first 2, it's actually going to be the same. The 3 and 4 are going to be different, right? So you can see over here, these 2 are going to stay the same, and these are the ones that we're going to change around a little bit, right? So we're going to say order 1, and order on the medium also, we're going to leave just 1, right? So now that we have this, we just need to place an image, right? So I'm going to say image, source over here, and I'm going to say images and about images, right? And over here, we're going to place a class. I'm going to say this is going to be a class of image, fluid, and rounded, right? This is going to have a rounded edges. So now I can close this one out, and this div is actually ready. Right, so if we scroll down, this is going to be our div, and then what we would want to do is we would want to create the same thing, right, but just with a text, right? So we have a couple of options. We can just copy this one over here, and what I'm going to do is this order is going to change, right? This is going to be order 2, and over here we're going to get rid of this image, and we're going to say that this is going to be a paragraph, and it's going to have a text white over here, and we're just going to place some lorem text over here like this, and you can see that I made a mistake, but it's not a big deal. Over here like this. So now we have a lorem text, right? And now we have 2 of them. So again, the only thing left to do over here is just copying them, and we're just going to change the image. So we're going to copy this one, and over here image is going to be number 2, but this is the interesting part, right? So over here, this is going to have the original order of, let's say we're going to say this is going to have order of 4, right? Then we're going to say that on a smaller screen, it's actually going to go back to number 3, and this is going to be the other way, right? So this is going to be the order 4, and on sorry, not over here, column medium 3, order 4 over here, we're going to say that this is going to be, and I'm sorry, order 3, and this is going to be on a smaller medium 4, right? So this is what happens. On a smaller one, we want this look, right? But if we go back over here, it goes back to normal like it should be, right? If you would leave it like this, then both of these images would be actually stuck one against another, right? And we don't want that. We actually want this look, right? So the only thing left to do is actually create a footer and create a nav bar. So let's just scroll all the way to the bottom over here, and we're going to say that this is going to be a footer. And obviously we're going to start with the section. I'm going to say this is going to be a ID of footer, and over here we're going to say that this is going to be a class, and not like this. We're going to actually write background light over here, and we're going to say this is going to be a padding 5 over here, and then we're going to open this one up, and we're going to say this is going to be a container, and then it's going to have also a row over here, and then we're going to have a over here column, right? So we're going to say a column. It's going to be spanning 12, and over here it's going to have a text over here center, and I missed the dot over here, so place the dot, and actually we're ready to go. So if we just click this, right, so now we have a div with a row and everything, right? And over here we would need to place a href, right? So over here we're going to say the class, and the class is going to be, well, we're actually not going to have a class. It's not going to be a button, right? So over here we can just go ahead, and this is going to be an href, and we're going to say that this is going to be a hashtag over here, and here we're going to place a font awesome. So we're going to say that this is going to be far Facebook, and over here we're going to say this is going to be far 3 times bigger, right? Text dark, and over here we're going to say this is going to be margin 3, right? So let's check it out. Now we have the Facebook, and the only thing that we need to do is copy this and paste it 3 times, right? So here 1, 2, and here we're going to say text dark, and this is going to be Facebook, and a little bit too much Facebook, and we're going to say Twitter over here, Twitter, and this is going to be a Instagram. So now that we have this, we have only one thing left to do. Over here we're going to place a heading 1, and we're going to say that this heading 1 is going to be the ampersand. Over here copy, and over here we're going to say this is going to be copyright, and we're going to say 2017, right? So now that we get this rolling, we can go actually and style the nav bar, right? Now the one thing about nav bar, what we want to do right away before we actually do anything, right? So here you can see that we're going to have to do a for the body margin top, because we'll have a fixed top nav bar, not margin top. And over here, another thing what we're going to do is we're going to add a class. So I just want to make that class right away, right? So this is going to be a transparent class for the nav bar. So I'm going to say transparent over here, and I'm going to say this is going to be background, and we're going to say RGBA over here, and we're going to say this is going to be 0, 0, 0, and this is going to be 0.7, right? So this should do it, right? We cannot see it right now because we haven't obviously used that class yet, but if we scrolled up and we're going to start working on Navbar, we're going to right away notice, right? So this is the banner section. Okay, so let's move on and let's actually style the nav, right? So here I'm going to write nav, and over here we're going to say that this is going to be nav with a many classes, right? So I'm going to say nav, and over here I'm going to say this is going to have a class of Navbar, then it's going to have Navbar expand, and again I'm going to be expanding it. Let's say in this case I'm just going to say on medium, right? So right away in medium we're going to have a toggle button, right? Then we're going to add this transparent, right? That's going to be the class that actually makes our background transparent. Then we have Nav Bar dark over here. This is going to be for the fonts. And over here, we're going to have a padding 3, right? For the font, we can make padding 4. And over here, fixed top, right? So we have this one over here. You can see this is going to be our background. This is our nav, right? So everything we're going to be placing within the nav, right? Again, for the sake of it, let's change it around. Let's actually have the toggle button first, toggler over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this is going to be button over here. And I'm going to say that this is going to have a nav bar toggler over here, toggler. Then I'm going to say that this is going to be a type, and this is going to be a type of button. Over here, I'm going to say type, and this is going to be button. Then I'm going to say that this is going to have a attribute data toggle over here, and we're going to do a collapse. And then over here, we're going to say data target, right? And remember, the data target needs to be the ID you're going to give to your div lower when we're going to create our unordered list, right? So data target and nav over here, right? So now you can see that our button is going to be on the left hand side and our actual logo is going to be over here, right? So this is going to be it for the button, right? The only thing left over here, we would need to create a span. So we have a span of class over here, and we would say nav bar, and over here toggler, and then we're going to say icon, right? Icon, and then over here we're going to close the span. So now we have our toggler, right? So nothing is happening because we haven't created a div. And over here underneath the button, let's make a brand, right? The Navbar brand. Let's say Navbar brand over here. And I'm going to say that I would want a Navbar brand with a, let's say this is going to be href, and the class is going to be Navbar brand. And over here, I'm just going to close it out, and the href is going to be, let's say, we're just going to say a dummy link, right? And over here, we're going to say that this is going to be brand name, right? So I don't know, this is going to be the Apple, or let's say phone crusher, right? Crusher, same deal, right? So now that we have this, what we would want to do is actually style the links, right? So we go somewhere over here, and we would need to write a div. So again, we can do it with using Emmet, or we can use it normally. I'm just going to use the Emmet. So we're going to say collapse, and then we're going to say this is going to be a Navbar class, Navbar, collapse, and then we're going to say that this is going to be justify content around, because I would want a different styling for the links. Justify content, okay, around, and here I'm going to say this is going to have an ID of nav, right? So we go over here, we have an ID of nav, right? It's the same as over here, right? And over here, we can start putting links. So I'm going to go links, and what we're going to do over here, we're just going to style it a little bit. We're going to say unordered list, and this is going to be class, right? And the class is going to be navbar nav. And within this unordered list, then we're going to say that this is going to be list item, and this is going to be nav item over here. Then within a list item, we would want a href with a class of nav link. And over here, the href is going to be like this. And over here, we're going to say this is going to be home, right? And for this case, we're just going to say this is going to be banner. And over here, we're going to say this is home. And what we would want to do is actually copy this 2 times, right? So 1, 2. And over here, what was our other sections? I already forgot what was the names, right? So over here, let's check it out. What was it? This was the banner. This was the filler features. And after that, we had, let's say, what was it? Team? Yeah. So features and team, right? So this is going to be a features, right? Oh no, this is going to be team, and this is going to be features. And over here we're going to also have features, right? So now that we have this, we're actually can go ahead and actually add the last thing that we're going to do is actually add the form. All right, so we're going to go over here. This is going to be bigger. And over here, we're going to say that this is going to be a form inline. So I'm going to say that this is going to be a form. And it's going to have a class of form inline. Form inline. Over here. And over here, what we're going to do is we're going to say that this is going to be a div with input group, right? So we're going to say input group, and over here we would want to place in input group, right? So we're going to create the input, and we're going to say that this is going to have a class of over here of form control, right? Form control. And then we're going to say type text. Yes, type is text. And we're going to say the placeholder. Right, placeholder. And we're going to say this is going to be search. And over here with the span, we're going to have a add-on. Right, so this is going to be the add-on. We're going to say this is going to be a span with a class of input group and add-on. And then over here, we're going to place a font awesome, right? So this is going to be the search. So we're going to say I over here, fa, and fa search. Search over here. And then we can close this one out. And once we add font awesome over here, right, we can check it out what we have, right? So over here, this is going to be our font awesome search, right? And this is going to be the links. And over here, if we make it bigger, right, the screen is going to be bigger. Now we're going to see it like this, right? And let's just go over here and we can check it out what we have over here, right? So we have the whole project like you wanted. And again, you can see that my live preview is going to be messing up a little bit, but everything is like we planned. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next project.